We're going to call the committee to order, and we'll start off as a subcommittee. Welcome members and welcome everyone here to the Jobs Committee on Economic Development and the Economy. We have no quorum yet. At the minute that we do get another member, we will pause to officially call the meeting to order, but at this time we'll start again as a subcommittee. We'll recognize the presence of our secretary and any announcements that we have. No announcements. There are 4 bills on file. We are going to give Senator Nielsen courtesy to come forward and present his bill. We don't have anything on the consent calendar, and there is no list of supplemental information or documents. So at this time, we'll introduce Mr. Nielsen. He's got item 2 on the agenda, SB 159, California Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Program. Welcome.
A good program, Mr. Chairman. It dates back to the late 80s, and I was around for that run. It was then Senate Bill 1517, and it established a Disabled Veterans Business Enterprise Program within the Department of General Services. There were statutory requirements as to how DGS would report. We've always been big on accountability, and we wanted to make sure that the program was achieving its 3% goals. DGS is the administrative agency for other contracting programs as well, and they all are located in different code sections, and each had separate independent reporting requirements. In 2005, the legislature, again well-intended, enacted a bill that pulled all the reporting sections away from the statutory locations and consolidated them. Well, that well-intended goal had some confusing consequences. The DGS annual report on Disabled Veterans Business Enterprise Achievement, they claim, DGS does, that the statute is vague, and they've been regular reporting and participation based on dollars awarded, which is more broad and less accurate. In effect, it's given us an underground regulation. We want to clarify that now so we really know what we're doing. Everyone's playing from the same level playing field. The amendments clarify the metrics to be used when calculating the 3% procurement participation goals, and that would be based on dollars awarded, not appropriated. So it's a simple clarification. I have not seen any opposition anywhere to this. Generally, it seemed to be a clarification that is needed, and there was no ill intent. It just sort of happened along the way, some of the inadvertencies that come to visit our legislation, and this one's been around a long time.
All right, Mr. Nielsen, Senator Nielsen, before we proceed, I'm going to recognize that we do have a quorum, and I'm going to ask the Madam Secretary to please call the roll.
Eduardo Garcia.
Present.
Kim.
Present.
Bro.
Here.
Brown. Chow. Chu.
Here.
Gibson. Irwin. Mathis.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Now, you did mention you have accepted the amendments that put forward. All right. Do you have anyone that would like to speak on the bill? In favor of the bill? Anyone like to speak in support of the bill? Anyone like to speak in opposition to the bill? Anyone from the committee have any questions?
Just like to be added as a co-author.
All right.
I believe the chairman wished to.
That's right. Yes, thank you.
Vice Chair.
There you go. Anyone else?
Vice Chair as well.
We've got a few co-authors.
Can't do any better than that.
That's right. That's right. Talk about no opposition.
Motion to move in a second.
We have a motion by Assemblymember Mathis and a second by Assemblymember Bro with the amendments. Roll call.
First on the urgency.
All right.
Urgency. Eduardo Garcia.
Aye.
Eduardo Garcia, aye. Kim.
Aye.
Kim, aye. Bro.
Aye.
Bro, aye. Brown. Chow. Chu.
Aye.
Chu, aye. Gibson. Irwin. Mathis.
Aye.
Mathis, aye.
Okay.
And no on the bill. No on the bill.
All right. No on the bill, and We move it out of committee.
We need 2 votes because we're adopting an emergency.
So we have, okay, so we have to leave it open.
And we need a full vote on the bill now.
Okay, we need a full vote on the bill.
Item number 2, SB 159, Eduardo Garcia.
Aye.
Eduardo Garcia, aye. Kim.
Aye.
Kim, aye. Bro. Bro, aye. Brown. Chow. Chu. Chu, aye. Gibson. Irwin. Mathis. Mathis, aye.
All right.
5-0.
Bill passes and referred to Assembly Committee on Veterans. Thank you.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman and members, and the veterans thank you, too.
Thank you. Now we go on to H.R. 5, Assemblymember Garcia.
Good morning. I want to thank the chair and the committee for carrying this measure today and for your work. This issue is important to me, and I know it's also important to our chairman here today. It's no secret that Mexico's government has long been plagued with corruption. One of the most recent and atrocious occurred in Iguala last summer, where 43 students went missing. Since then, our state and our nation have engaged politically with our neighbor to the south. Last summer, when President Peña Nieto addressed the California legislature, he spoke of the reforms implemented during the first months of his presidency. He spoke of the reforms that focused on safeguarding human rights and streamlining the process for citizens to use this protective tool against abuse of authority that violate their rights. However, his words and actions of his government did not match. Instead of seriously addressing the concerns of his citizens, he traveled abroad to visit with other governments and characterized the citizens' protests as a conspiracy to destabilize the government. Unfortunately, the actions of Peña Nieto's government is that it's business as usual, where the influence peddling leads the way. We need to send a message. If we're going to be political economic partners with our neighboring countries, we need to hold them accountable. California is an economic powerhouse. We are in a position to insist that the Mexican government begin to seriously address the injustices they have long been associated with. Our cooperation should not come without strings. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak on H.R. 5 from the audience? In favor? Anyone wishing to speak against? We do have a motion by Assemblymember Mathis and a second by Assemblymember Canton-Chu. Any comments, questions from the committee members?
I just want to thank the author for bringing this issue forward to us. As someone who has worked on human rights issues for a long time as a congressional staff, I know how important this is, not just to the United States, just to send a message that United States really is a country that puts high premium on human rights. As a result, California being one of the largest states in our country, we need to send that message. So I stand with you and along with my colleagues here. Thank you for doing this. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you for bringing the resolution forward. I know we had an opportunity to speak to some of the parents of some of the students that went missing, and it was heartfelt to be able to share our solidarity with them and their families and the fight that is going on south of our border to ensure that there is the amendment to speak your mind and voice your opinions on the certain conditions that are taking place there within the government. So thank you for bringing this forward. I'll restate the motion by Assemblymember Mathis, second by Canton-Chu, and I'll have Secretary call the roll.
Item number 1, H.R. 5, motion be adopted to third reading. Eduardo Garcia.
Aye.
Eduardo Garcia, aye. Kim.
Aye.
Kim, aye. Bro. Bro, aye. Brown. Chow. Chu. Chu, aye. Gibson. Irwin. Irwin, aye. Mathis. Mathis, aye. 6-0.
All right, 6-0, and we will move this to third reading. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senate Bill 189, Senator Wessel, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I would like to begin by thanking staff and the chair for their assistance with this bill and helping with the amendments. We'd like to accept the amendments proposed on page 7 of the analysis. SB 189 would create the Committee on Maximizing Jobs and Economic Growth. It would further align our state around job creation and in the process of energy production and reducing greenhouse gases. This committee will consist of experts in the fields of economics, finance, and policy that will advise state agencies tasked with implementing greenhouse gas emission reduction and energy efficiency policies. The goal of this committee, as it was envisioned, was to ensure that there is a focus on job creation as California works toward making our environment healthier. So we have formulated this bill based on research that shows that clean energy and climate change policies also have an economic impact. California leads the nation in job creation in these areas, and it in February passed Brazil, a country with 180 million people, as the 7th largest economy in the world. California is the location of over 40,000 businesses serving advanced energy markets. It was number 1 in total advanced energy investment and number 1 in electric vehicle sales. It is crucially important to continue this job creation trend and capitalize on the economic potential with the help of experts in the field. We're also very blessed in California to have numerous experts, research institutions, and the leading minds in technology and economic development. We need to incorporate those thoughts and those efforts into planning our public policy for our state. The Committee on Maximizing Jobs and Economic Growth will do just that, maximize job creation and economic growth. SB 189 will ensure that the state moves forward with clean energy and greenhouse gas-related policies and that our job market will continue to thrive and the state's economy will continue to grow. I respectfully ask for your support for this bill. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Senator. We have a motion by Assemblymember Chu. Assemblymember Brown has seconded the motion. Is there anyone wishing to speak in support of the bill?
Good morning. Gareth Elliott with the Solar Energy Industries Association in strong support of the bill.
Thank you.
Claire Desser on behalf of CalSTART and AdaGen in support.
Good morning. Danielle Lynch on behalf of the California Association of Local Conservation Corps. In high support of this bill, we represent 14 local corps throughout the state of California who employ and provide job training for at-risk youth throughout the state. And we applaud the Senator in his efforts to not only address environmental issues, but also really maximize economic opportunities as well as economic growth in the state. Thanks.
All right. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the bill? Seeing no one, I'll ask, open it up for questions or comments from the committee members.
Senator, love the bill. I think it's a great bill. I was wondering if you'd be willing to add an industry representative to the committee. On page 3, line 24, have it just say one member shall have experience in an industry affected by greenhouse gas reductions.
Now, is it your intent to have that one person, that one member of the committee only have that experience, or that it be within that person's experience?
Within that person's experience.
Okay.
That way there's not to add another member, just that way one of them does have industry experience and is speaking from...
We'll work with you to craft that language to ensure that a person has that breadth of experience, absolutely.
Okay.
And within that person's experiences. Not right? My understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that way moving forward, that way that committee has industry experience. I mean, the list of the experiences looking for are great, but to ensure that there's somebody from the industry there as well, I think would better craft that group and help it move.
That's generally our intent, but we don't want to limit any one position to just one industry, but we do want to have people with very specific experience. So we will work that out, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Any
Appreciate
other
it.
questions or comments?
I do.
Am I right? See none? Okay.
I do have a question.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Okay. My question, first of all, thank you for the bill. I do support the spirit of, maximizing job growth, creating jobs. That is the jurisdiction of this committee. So I'm in support of the intent of what this legislation is trying to do. But when I read this bill, what this does is creating a blue ribbon committee. I don't see it in the bill. As I read through the whole thing, could you explain what the makeup of the committee is and what they will be charged to do? And also, the people that we are appointing to serve on this Blue Ribbon Committee, will they be paid, unpaid positions? Will there be a staff or staff members that will be hired to fill that position to help the committee members to provide the advice that they're asked to come up with? The way I read it is that we already have existing many Blue Ribbon committees in order to implement AB 32. So what is the impetus of bringing this legislation forward to create another Blue Ribbon?
They're uncompensated positions, so we didn't want to necessarily put attach a compensation. The idea is to create an advisory committee based on the best minds that we identified in the areas that I mentioned. We're talking about experts in the fields of economics, in the fields of finance, public policy, and in the fields of energy that themselves, and in the areas of gas reduction, greenhouse reduction policies and business. So it's going to be a process by which our governor and the legislature selects these people from our community to lead a Blue Ribbon committee that they're not compensated for, that will not have a financial impact on ratepayers and taxpayers, but will create advice. They will be held. The idea is that they'll be held around the community in the state in coordination with the California Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and they'll be open to the public. And the idea is that they'll coordinate the production of public policy recommendations in coordination with departments that work.
When we hold the meetings, obviously we will be at least compensating them on the per diem basis. If we're meeting them in Sacramento, for example, we'll be flying the members of the committee. So there will be some expenses incurred. That's just the way the commissions work.
Well, generally, we compensate them for some of the expenses that they have, but that's not
my question is, couldn't this be achieved with the existing committees or advisory groups? Because this does not have any members of the industry affected by AB 32.
Yeah, I understand what you're asking. It's a question of alignment. We can either compensate them to do a very general task, or we can compensate them in terms of their costs. We have a cost in having anybody in the state and at the government level or at their advisory level perform a task. So that's not going to change. What's going to change is the alignment, how we direct the production of public policy. I formerly, for a brief time, worked in government, and without necessarily to get you to understand how it works. You can work within an agency and work toward economic development or housing production or providing social services or whatever it is that you're tasked with. When there's a very specific task that comes on board, it changes your alignment and your focus a little bit. In the city of San Diego where I worked, we were working on creating affordable housing. That was one of our tasks of many. When it became a priority of the council to create affordable housing in San Diego, they started creating a whole set of directives and goals to achieve affordable housing more efficiently. That created a permit expedite program. It actually led to results in that specific area that we weren't receiving before. And that's why I say it's an alignment issue. If you want to work
Senator,
toward...
I think I understand how this works. It's just that I'm just concerned about the redundancy of it when we already have several committees that is already existing per AB 32. And we are, again, don't get me wrong, I am all for job growth, economic development, and this committee is just tasked to do just that. I'm just worried about the redundancy of it and the expenses that would be incurred. However small, however minuscule you may think this is, but again, whenever we organize a committee, we need to bring bodies together. We need a staff designated to support that commission. And so there is expenses involved, and I just feel that existing Blue Ribbon committees might be able to just
share
that and, achieve the same goal.
We're thinking beyond that. We're thinking.
I just wanted to get my concerns on the record too.
We have a couple more questions. Senator Assemblywoman Brown.
Hello, Senator.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you so much for bringing this forward. I understand what you're trying to do, and the reason that I understand it is because last year I also tried to bring something together. What I find is happening, and I don't know if this is the same in this particular case, but that we're working in silos here, and everybody has the silo. And nobody is there to kind of bridge it together, or no one's there looking and connecting the dots. I look at this as connecting the dots and giving information that is going to be important to make decisions here in the state. So I will be supporting this bill, and I thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you. That's a great example.
Assemblymember Gibson.
Thank you very much, Senator. Thank you very much for bringing this bill forward. Question, how would this Blue Ribbon panel be different from existing committees?
I think Assemblymember Brown explained it, I guess, the best today. Breaking down silos, that's something that I've been working on in different areas. We have lots of committees and commissions and agencies that don't necessarily work together on common goals. And that creates sometimes, a situation where you don't know where the right hand's not communicating with the left hand, and we're working in different directions. And anytime you can create a common directive in the state, in some area, we're doing it now with water. We're doing it in areas in some cases with energy, where we're thinking of, connecting how sourcing agencies like CalISO communicate with the different districts. And I think that we're pushing this area that we think is an area of enormous economic potential for our state, an area where agencies should be coordinating, talking to each other, working together, but among an emphasized area. We're actually saying that this is an area where we want the state of California to make an extra added effort at promulgating policies that will lead to economic development and job creation. And honestly, I'm a very large proponent of achieving California's energy independence. So to achieve that, to accomplish that, you really need everybody working together around a common mission. And we haven't had a lot of production in this state, in this area, from any of our agencies that get to the area of sustainable energy, greenhouse reduction, creating jobs. That's not an area where our agencies have taken a lead. Why not connect the public sector and the private sector together around a common vision, common goal, and an advisory committee that will create those recommendations? So that's what we're trying to achieve.
Great, and I thank you very much. I mean, I think the bill is something that's certainly needed. I think that giving the residents and giving our constituency the opportunity to have a voice in this process, in this bill, I've read it as well extensively, and certainly agree with my colleague from the Inland Empire's comments about connecting the dots. I believe that this connect the dots. I also believe that community involvement in terms of the expenses, I think that just on the surface of it, it's minimum, but in terms of the participation will outweigh any expense that we would seek to invest in such a Blue Ribbon Committee because of the people who will be involved in this, the information that will be provided back to this body in terms of direction, in terms of also possibly further legislation going forward in order to help us reach this particular goal in terms of green gas emissions. I think it's a great approach, and I'll be supporting this bill. And thank you very much for providing us an opportunity to have a conversation in this committee regarding it. Thank you.
Let me just ask one more thing. Whenever you start putting together the Blue Ribbon Committee, please remember the people in the Inland Empire, because we generally get left out of these kind of things, and we are the ones that have the sunshine and the heat and all the things that go with that. So please make sure that somebody is representing the Inland Empire on that.
Absolutely, and remember, I also represent an inland county, Imperial County, so we have a lot in common.
Thank you, Senator. If there aren't any other questions or comments, I know there is a motion and a second. I just wanted to close by thanking you for bringing this bill forward. It looks like what we're trying to do is get far more specific than we have in the past in preparing a workforce. Both you and I know, having the responsibility of representing Imperial County with 21% unemployment, that there are pockets of organizations and groups that are doing the training and the development of the renewable industry job opportunities, but the dots aren't connected. There isn't anyone overseeing the effort, but at the same time looking at best practices and trying to maximize the opportunities. We have people perhaps that don't believe that the direction that we're moving in is the right one. I think that, again, you and I know in Imperial County that there is a tremendous amount of opportunity. Some of the largest solar projects in the world are located in the general region out there, and making sure that we have a prepared workforce is critical. And that's just one example of one particular renewable industry. So I will be supporting the bill. There is a motion by Assemblymember Brown and a second by Assemblymember Kansan-Chu. You have accepted the amendments. It is to refer to the Assembly Committee on Natural Resources. No other questions or comments? I'll ask the Secretary to call the roll.
Item number 3, SB 189, motion do pass with amendments and be referred to the Assembly Committee on Natural Resources. Eduardo Garcia.
Aye.
Eduardo Garcia, aye. Kim?
Regret, no. Sorry.
Kim, no. Bro? Bro, no. Brown?
Yes, aye.
Brown, aye. Chow? Chow, aye. Chu? Chu, aye. Gibson?
Aye.
Gibson, aye. Irwin? Irwin, aye. Mathis? Mathis not voting? Six to 2.
All right, 6 yes, 2 noes, and 1 abstention. The bill will be referred to the Assembly Committee on Natural Resources.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to. Do we have someone who's not here? Well, I think we have a full committee here. Everyone's here. Everyone's here. So we'll move it to the Assembly Committee on Natural Resources. Thank you. Now we have item 4, which is SCR 6. Senator Monty. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Senate Concurrent Resolution 6 reflects the commitment of the California Legislature to establish a formal sister state relationship with the province of Santa Fe in Argentina. The state of California and the province of Santa Fe share numerous cultural, social, and economic ties, and strengthening this relationship through the establishment of a sister state designation will foster greater opportunities in trade, education, and cultural exchange. The legislature has developed a strong relationship with lawmakers and other leaders in Santa Fe through 6 different reciprocal legislative visits over the past decade, with a 7th visit planned for this fall. Members, I ask that you join me in promoting greater opportunities for collaboration between California and the Santa Fe province by voting aye on SCR 6. Thank you.
Move the bill.
Okay, we have a motion by Assemblymember Brown, second by our Vice Chair. And we'll ask if there's anyone wishing to speak in support of the resolution. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Okay, seeing none, any questions or comments from committee members? Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. I'll ask for a roll call.
Item number 4, SCR 6, motion be adopted to third reading. Eduardo Garcia.
Aye.
Eduardo Garcia, aye. Kim. Aye. Kim, aye. Bro. Aye. Bro, aye. Brown. Aye. Brown, aye. Chow.
Aye.
Chow, aye. Chu. Aye. Chu, aye. Gibson.
Aye.
Gibson, aye. Irwin. Aye. Irwin, aye. Mathis. Aye. Mathis, aye. 9-0.
9-0. The resolution will move to third hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Good. Well, we'll get you more information about that, and we have hosted visits here. I was actually looking forward to your questions so I could extol the virtues of Santa Fe and California, but thank you so much for your support. Have a good day.
1 and 2. Okay, we're going to just go back to items 1 and 2. And HR 5, that was Mexico Human Rights. We'll lift the call.
Lifting the call, item number 1, HR 5. Motion be adopted to third reading. Brown. Aye. Brown, aye. Chow.
Aye.
Chow, aye. Gibson.
Aye.
Gibson, aye. 9-0.
9-0. We'll move to third reading. Number two, Senate Bill 159. Nielsen, lift the call.
Lifting the call, item number 2, SB 159. First motion on the urgency. Brown. Aye. Brown, aye. Chow.
Aye.
Chow, aye. Gibson. Aye. Gibson, aye. Irwin. Irwin, aye. Motion number 2, do pass with amendments, and we refer to the Assembly Committee on Veteran Affairs. Brown.
Aye.
Urgency.
Brown, aye.
Aye.
Chow. Chow, aye. Gibson. Aye. Gibson, aye. Irwin. Irwin, aye.
Do we have
Councilmember Brown?
do we have to wait until we get into veterans before we can add on as co-authors?
Question.
We did today. We'd like to add on today.
So can we add on today?
Yeah.
Okay. Please add me.
Sure, Ms. Irwin and I will make sure.
All right, so 9-0. Okay, we'll move on to third reading as well, right? Oh, I'm sorry, to the Committee on Veteran Affairs. All right. So that is the conclusion of our agenda. Thank you, members, for attending, and we will be adjourned.